Hello, we're going to be learning about the last classification of animals, vertebrates today. So we've learned about birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish. What's left? Mammals is correct. So this is the last group of vertebrates. It is the one that we as humans are part of. So I'm going to show you all our skeletal system, since the rest of the mammals that we're going to be learning about as well are most similar to this one. Here is our Mr. Bones skeleton. He's got his spinal cord here, all of his vertebrae. As you can see, the rib cage, his skull. We're going to be learning about mammals, which includes that part. You get a little glance of the classroom a little bit. What is your favorite mammal to learn about? Maybe we'll have it in our reading today. So we are going to hear about what the different characteristics of mammals are today. Now, mammals are the only animals that have hair or fur and mammary glands in the females to nourish their young. So mammals feed their young with milk. The word mammal is derived from the same root as that word mammary. Like birds, mammals are warm-blooded. They have a high metabolic rate to maintain a high and constant internal body temperature. All mammals have lungs and a diaphragm that assists in pumping air to and from the lungs. Most mammals are placental. That is, the young are nourished inside the female's body until they are very well developed. Some are fully developed at birth. Marsupials, such as possums and kangaroos, are born at an extremely immature stage. So we've learned about that a little bit with birds. Remember how we heard that some are born very premature and then others are born already very mature. It's the same with mammals. Some, like kangaroos and possums, they have to have a lot of nourishing for them to become able to do anything on their own. So they're much more dependent on their mother. We've learned about some animals that become independent completely from birth. Now, marsupials like opossums and kangaroos, they're born at a very immature stage, but then they move to a protective pouch and are nourished there by the mother's milk. Only a few mammals, called the monotremes, which include the duckbill platypus and spiny anteater. They lay eggs, but after hatching, their young are also fed with milk from the females. So there are some egg-laying mammals. What are they? So monotremes is the group name, which includes a platypus and the anteater. But unlike some of the other animals that we've learned about that lay eggs, this one still has a mammary gland so that they're feeding their young milk. So that's a connection. Also, the platypus and anteater, they have hair or fur. So that's what makes them a mammal versus some of the other ones that we've talked about that lay eggs. Now, the young of all mammals are dependent on adults for an extended period while they learn to feed themselves and survive on their own. Mammals live in virtually every environment, as they are adaptable and can survive drastic changes in the environment. Most mammals are terrestrial or land dwellers, but some, including walruses, seals, dolphins, and whales, live in water or aquatic environments. So students, we are going to talk about some specific mammals that are pretty interesting. I know there are some mammals that maybe you really love, like maybe dogs are your favorite, or cats, or bears. Now, the world's largest known land mammal is called just a moment, this is a long one, and I'm trying to think of the pronunciation, Baluchitherium, I believe. It lived more than 30 million years ago. Now, this was a giant hornless ancestor to the rhinoceros, and it lived in Asia. It weighed approximately 10 to 30 tons and was so tall that a modern giraffe would just barely reach its shoulder. So imagine a rhinoceros that was that much taller than a giraffe even. Probably a good thing those are extinct. They might kill us all. Now, humans are, biologically speaking, most closely related to chimpanzees, which is part of the mammal classification, sharing about 98% of the same genetic sequence. So that's our closest relative, basically, according to the genetics. Now, even though they can fly, there is a specific mammal that may seem like a bird, but it's actually a mammal. Any guesses? A bat. A bat is still considered a mammal, even though it is able to fly, because of the rest of these ways that it's similar to a mammal. It has hair or fur and has mammary glands. It's warm-blooded. Well, birds are warm-blooded too. Now, marine mammals like dolphins, whales, and seals actually evolved from mammals that lived on land. Even though they've adapted to live in an aquatic environment, marine mammals share characteristics with all other mammals. For example, whales and dolphins actually have hair. And all marine mammals have lungs, not gills. So they must still breathe air to live. So that's why all of these marine animals have to come to the surface for air every so often. They're not able to completely live underwater. Okay, a little bit more about mammals. So once again, they're the only animal to have hair or fur on their bodies. Some mammals have very short, stiff bristles, and hair or fur in a layer of fat under the skin are very helpful to keep mammals warm. For movement, all mammals have 4 limbs. Now, a limb is a leg or arm. Some mammals, like humans, use their front limbs as arms. The front limbs of bats are adapted actually for flying. So those are specifically limbs. So they have 4 limbs like us, but the first 2 are for flying. Whales and other mammals that live in water have flippers for those front legs. So it's still a variation of that. So they're limbs, but just a different type of limb. So just a little overview. Mammals live on land and in water. All mammals have hair or fur, even the ones that are aquatic. All mammals have mothers who nurse their young with milk. Now, most mammals give birth to their young not with an egg, but the main characteristic of mammals is that they feed their young with milk because of their mammary glands. They breathe air with lungs. That's the 4th main characteristic of mammals. And finally, almost all give birth to live young, as I was mentioning, but a few do lay eggs. Okay, so what is your favorite mammal to learn about? I want you to write it in the questions after this video. And I hope that you have enjoyed learning about all of these animals. We've got some fun activities to sort of review and recap everything that we've done so far in science over the last several weeks. And I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful morning or afternoon.